And they literally look like someone has put LEDs on a hockey puck and stuck it to a teenage boy's chest. Hi, Els.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Elsie asked me to start the show and then wasn't happy with the way that I started the show. Said, no, start it like you started something. Had a go at me. Deleted the first part of recording and made me start again.
And isn't it a better starting?
Yeah, because he gave me an anecdote.
Yeah, exactly. Running low on those.
How are you?
No, I am actually very good because the Bratz episode went out today and I like the days when things go out. How about you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
Free of hair now.
Had a wax. Why do we always seem to record on my wax days?
My wax days?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I spent today doing my job with MI High on in the background. So...
How was that? How did that work out for you?
All of it is on. Right, I know that we're going to get into this, but I will be completely honest with you. I'm not really interested in past series 2. And I remember watching past it at the time. I definitely watched into like the second boy and girl plus Rose.
The middle ensemble.
Oscar and Carrie.
Yes, Rose, Oscar and Carrie.
I definitely watched them as they were airing. But they just never had the same charm that the original 3 had, who are only in 2 series together. It's ridiculous.
I have written this in the end of my notes to be like miscellaneous section to be said at the end of the episode kind of note. But I guess I'll just say it right up here at the top. When I look at all the other ensembles, I think that is like quite a good children's TV show that I'm vaguely familiar with. And when I look at the first cast, I think of it as being like, that's my show. Yeah. That's an actual show. Yeah. But that's because I was a kid.
That's what started it. I mean, if the first ensemble hadn't been so successful, it wouldn't have run for as long as it ran for.
That's very true.
It does, ultimately become a different show, and it wouldn't have if the first 3 hadn't been so successful. And Lenny.
The 21st century faces a new kind of threat. The old-school spies have had their day, and MI9 must create a new breed of skilled undercover agent. Hidden in a place no villain will think to look. Welcome to MI High.
So the idea of MI High was that of Keith Brumpton. He is a screenwriter of children's TV shows and apparently a successful one. So he was a Newcastle born. So this is straight from his website, which is all sort of written in typewriter font.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Because he's a writer.
Exactly. He's a screenwriter. He is a children's BAFTA-winning screenwriter, series creator, showrunner, and developmental consultant for TV and film. So what's he done? He's done Balamory.
Oh, we should do that. I'd not even thought about that one.
Yeah.
I've not thought about... I was going to say... I'd not thought about Balamory in years, but I looked in the mirror yesterday, my hair had flicked out, so I literally thought about it yesterday.
And he'd done 64 Zoo Lane as well.
I've never watched it.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's an absolutely delightful show. It's charming as all fuck.
Wow.
Have you heard, you've heard the intro song though? Yeah, of course.
It's the only thing I know about it.
Yeah. So he's a successful guy.
Seasoned.
He's seasoned. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, he also worked on Waterloo Road and the musical episode of CBBC's The Dumping Ground. I didn't even know it had a musical episode. Buffy's Power.
Well, Tracy Beaker has a musical episode, doesn't it? So
that's right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Which my boyfriend decided he was going to start watching some of those episodes of Tracy Beaker.
The Dumping Ground ones. Or the
OG show.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He started putting them on YouTube the other day, and he did put on the musical episode, and it's is fucking insane. I can't believe they aired that for kids.
Yeah, it's iconic.
We are going to do Tracy Beaker at some point.
Well, of course we are. But I mean, I said this to Arthur last episode, is that I think Tracy Beaker will require more than one episode. It needs to be its
got
own...
multiple spin-offs. And
yeah, the many different
bits and bobs, you know.
ages of Danny Harmer, you know, the different reincarnations. So yeah, it started in 2009, and the series producer was Kerry Appleyard, who revealed that the concept for the show came from the creator and writer Keith Brumpton, and he had the idea that it would be a fun thing to do a kids' spy show, basically working on the idea that kids find it very hard to keep secrets. That was the idea. But MI5 and MI6 did not want the production team to use their names in the television programme. So what...
You've got to find another name.
So what they did was they said, you can use MI9 because that used to be a department, but it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
So yeah, MI9 is real. I thought they made it up for MI High.
I knew that it used to be real because I remember looking it up at the time.
Ah, okay. So do you know what it's for? Do you remember?
No, I don't. And the thing is, it actually won't have been at the time. Thinking about it now, it won't have been the time that I looked it up. But I think I said on a previous show that my mum, the serial binge watcher who used to binge watch Young Dracula, I'm pretty sure she also used to binge watch this.
Interesting.
So I will have watched it in my later years and then looked it up. Later years.
A lot of the people very close to you are avid watchers of media that's too young for them.
What, you and my mum on occasion?
And your boyfriend?
I wouldn't call him an avid watcher, but... Yeah.
So, yeah, MI9 was a World War II department. It was in charge of overseas, like helping pilots who had been downed by the Nazis. It was all about sort of recovering prisoners of war and helping those. So, yeah, it existed for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daisy, you will go undercover as a reporter for the United Schools Gazette. Find out why he's behaving so aggressively.
We need a suspect profile, personal history, family background. Thus, we'll need blood and DNA samples.
DNA?
Deoxyribonucleic acid. Nice building block.
Yeah. Try and keep up, Lane.
How are you going to go undercover with such a big mouth?
At least I'm not just hired muscle.
You mean martial arts expert? Which beats being an expert in makeup. My mate Stuart would be worth 10 of you.
Look, guys, who knows why MI9 chose us? But we're in this together. It's our first mission. We can't afford to mess up.
Have confidence, Rose. You were all selected for your unique qualities. Scientific genius, social chameleon, martial arts expert. I remember my first mission. Brighton Beach, crack of dawn, rubber dinghy, me, Chuckers and Ginger, done up to the nines with camouflage.
Gadgets, Lenny?
Oh yes, sorry.
Did you know that Keith Brumpton is a children's author as well?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's... Because I was just looking him up, because I was like, why does his name sound so familiar? And there's he's done more than this, I think, but there's a series of books called Dino FC, which is essentially what it's like the Dinosaur Football Club.
Do you... did you ever read these?
No, I've just heard... I don't know why I've seen or heard of them. I don't know if it's younger relatives or... But yeah.
That sounds adorable.
Yeah. Let's talk about current children's books for a second.
Okay. Seems like you have something to say.
Well, I think it's time that David Walliams took a step down.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to go one further. I think that we should stop allowing celebrities to cash in on putting their names on children's books.
Yes.
I think it's lazy. Let actual authors who know how to do it well, they should be given these publishing contracts, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many like comedy actors that are like making easy money off of writing mediocre children's books and marketing them on the one show, you know?
I know it's like it's different if you go into, say, a bookshop. But if you go into, say, a supermarket and you look at their book section, it is David Walliams, Captain Underpants, David Walliams, J.K. Rowling. And it's like, I don't read these books, but... And I'm not criticising any parents who may be on here who just want to make their kid read, which is fair enough.
Yeah, sure.
And I think, most of the time, any reading is better than no reading.
Yeah,
and I
of
do
course.
zero fucking squat reading these days. But there are more books out there than just fucking David Walliams' subpar shite.
What you're making me think of is, do you remember that TikTok I sent you not that long ago, which was like old...
Grandma poos a bank.
Old children's titles.
You're gonna have to tag him in it. Because...
I'm gonna have to. Like, old children's titles are like Mr. What is it? Mr. Timmins' Tiny Kittens.
Do you know what? Me and my boyfriend were quoting these in the car the other day because we think they're so funny. But it occurred to me that all of the nice kids' books that are like, if you haven't seen the TikTok, the idea is...
The hair in the lavender field.
The idea is, this is what kids' books used to sound like. The hair in the lavender field. And this is what they're called now. Grandma poos a bank. And
Let's drink piss.
I said to my boyfriend, why are all the nice kids' books Southern and why are all the naughty kids' books Northern?
Listener, she's pointing her finger at me.
I'm wagging my finger because I think the TikTok is really, it is unbelievably funny. It is really, really funny.
I'll put it in the show notes.
I take issue with the suggestion that it is nicer to be Southern than it is to be simply nicer. It's like, oh, look at these civilised little Southern children and the horrible Northern cunts.
What was it? It was...
I just said the C word on the air.
Grandma poos a bank, let's drink piss, and... Oh, fuck, that's going to really annoy me.
The llama and the frog. The hare in the lavender field. Mr. Timmins' Tiny Kittens. Grandma poos a bank. The boy with the massive bumhole. Let's drink piss.
So you and I today have spent most of our time watching MI High episodes before. So we've spoken about
I have also done my actual paid job.
Sure, and I've applied for jobs other than my paid job.
Okay.
But before we talk about the content, because we've already spoken about the creator, I just want to hear your initial thoughts on the media you've been consuming today.
Well, I wouldn't have continued consuming it if I wasn't enjoying it.
And yeah, you really did continue.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like,
easy watching.
Is that it, or
kids' telly tends to be easy watching though?
Were you filled with any sort of joy? Or...
I'll be genuinely honest with you. I don't remember what other TV show I said this about, but I must have watched this an awful lot when it was airing, because I was able to say the next, I knew what was coming next. Like, I was watching the episode with the kind of supercomputer that is that takes over the school because of the rules. Do you know that one?
Oh my god!
And there's the episode, and
you remember more of it than I do.
Rose manages to pull the plug out of the socket and the computer powers down. But the computer then powers up and it goes, I have stored enough electricity to last 1,000 years. And I knew it was coming because I've watched it so many, I knew exactly what the next line was going to be.
Some HAL shit there.
And it's happened loads of times because I was like, oh, I actually have this memory in my head from somewhere.
Wow.
And it's really weird for me because I don't actually remember that much of my childhood, let alone the things I was watching on TV.
And of all the things I expected, I didn't think it was MI High that would be the thing that you latched onto
when
so
I
much.
said I loved it, I absolutely loved it.
Should we talk about just what it is? I don't think people need reminding, but, the idea is...
Yeah.
Well, he says it all in the introduction.
Yes.
The 21st century faces a new kind of threat. Old school spies have had their day, and MI9 must create a new breed of skilled undercover agent. hidden in a place no villain will think to look. Welcome to MI High.
And I did point out earlier that in the later series, this gets removed from the intro credits.
Yeah.
And I said, do you think the reason is because actually that is exactly where all the villains look, because it happens almost exclusively in the school?
Yeah, it happens, yeah. So the series 1 and 2, you had Lenny, played by actual Danny John Jules.
I am still just mind boggled at how they managed to get Batman.
Yeah.
Because what I was saying to you earlier while I'd been rewatching bits of it was, and as it was airing, I wouldn't have noticed crossovers and the cameos and stuff that you get from actual actors. Apart from Danny John Jules, because my parents introduced me to Red Dwarf very young. So that's the same man.
Yes.
But there is actually quite a lot of cameos and appearances,
really familiar faces
from really quite famous actors. I mean,
Rula Lenska.
Yeah. And
Kevin Eldon.
Kevin Eldon's in it. And you're watching it and you're like, when you watch kids' TV and you see the actors and you think, oh, you're a kids' TV actor, or you don't see these people outside of, kids' TV. It feels rude to say, but it is true.
No, I know what you mean.
But then you watch this back and you're like, oh no, actual real,
Tony. I know what you mean. Tony Gardner's in it.
Tony Gardner's in it.
Tony Gardner's in it.
Where?
In one of the. It was the later cast. It was the middle cast. So he played the Prime Minister in that.
Oh,
and he really has got a Prime Minister face.
The guy that plays Oscar's dad, but I can't remember his name. The Irish guy. He's in Happy Valley. I can't remember his name though.
The fit one. No, okay. I thought that in MI High he was kind of fit.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is they all kind of are because they're all wearing
spy outfits,
leather, and black eyeliner. So
yeah. So yeah, you've got Danny John Jules as like
legend.
I
would love to meet that man.
Yeah. So he was the handler of the 3 spy kids that went to the school.
He masquerades as like
the caretaker
of the school.
So he puts on like a Cockney accent when he's talking to the head teacher.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Flatley. I think I've found that frozen pipe you was talking about. I'll have it fixed in no time, sir. After more pressing matters.
And he has a broom that he goes around with because you never see a caretaker without a broom.
Or
and
a tool case.
He flips the top of the broom handle off and there's a switch underneath on it. And when he presses the switch, the 3 agents, the kids, have got these like yellow pencils with the little pink rubbers on them. And the pink rubbers flash. Yeah. So to know that they've been summoned. And when that happens,
they've got to get out of class.
Yeah, they have to fake an excuse to get out of the class, and they're all in the same class for some
every time
for some reason.
The 3 of them put up their hands, and then the teacher
at exactly the same time.
Yeah,
and
the
make 3
teacher
different
will
excuses.
go to Blaine first, and then Daisy, and then Rose. And Rose is the genius, but because she's always picked last, she's run out of excuses. And she goes, "I need to go to the toilet
every time."
Miss, I've got my community liaison session.
It's very thoughtful of you, Blaine.
Yeah, there's this OAP on my estate that I help out sometimes.
Well, that is marvellous. I do so enjoy the company of younger people. Right, off you go. Daisy, are you all right?
Sorry, miss, can I be excused too? I've just got this awful migraine.
Of course, you poor thing. Go see the nurse. Now, sea cucumber. Oh, it's not you as well, is it, Rose?
I need the toilet.
I had thought you at least would be interested in the reproductive cycle of sea cucumbers.
I am. I'll be right back.
So those kids are Daisy, Rose and Blaine.
Yes.
The original
OG
MI High
trio.
kids. Yes. Oh,
they are the best trio.
They are. So the casting for that is that they sent out leaflets, like thousands of leaflets, all over to schools.
Yeah.
And it was read out in assembly at the girl who plays Rose. It was read out in her school, and she applied. She thought it would be fun, and that they knew that she was going to be the right choice when she pointed out to the director or the writer or I don't know who the full word for DNA. She noticed it had been spelled wrong.
Really?
How cute is that? How cute.
That is swatty.
Yeah, so she's called, there's going to be some mispronunciation here, but she's called Rachel Petladwala.
Petladwala, I would say.
Yeah. There's not very much information about the guy who plays Blaine. What's he called?
Mustafa Hussein Oglu. He's Greek.
Yeah, I thought so.
Greek born of Turkish origin. So
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about your name, Mustafa.
Yeah, sorry. And then Daisy
Belle Powley, because
Powley,
she's the only one of them that I've actually seen in stuff since.
that has gone on to have a career.
Yeah.
Well, Belle Powley was cast in the same way, but she went to Holland school, like famous private school, and her dad also was an actor.
Oh, okay.
So she seems to have more and better credits than him, but she, the casting people were like looking over a sea of kids that were all sat on the floor, and she made eye contact with them, and they thought, oh, she's got the confidence. Like she
does,
seems,
though, doesn't she?
Yeah. She's really, really good.
She is.
She's brilliant in everything she was in that Pete Davidson movie recently.
I think I've only actually seen her in Informer, but she's really good in Informer.
Yeah, and she is in a movie called Diary of a Teenage Girl.
Yes,
where she plays a 15-year-old, and there was some controversy around that film because it was an 18, but ironically, people who were the same age as the character were too young to see it. So, because basically she has a lot of sex with her mum's boyfriend, played by Alexander Skarsgård, in that film.
Why do the Skarsgård brothers always seem to
multiply?
No, just play these sort of weird,
know,
horrible CD characters.
But everyone in it is fantastic, and there's not that much of it I remember. I just remember really enjoying it. And there's a scene where she's on her own in her bedroom having taken acid, and she sprouts like hand-drawn. A lot of the film is like hand-drawn because it's based on a graphic novel.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, she sprouts hand-drawn wings and she flies, and then it's like a close-up on her face, and she just whispers, "I knew it."
Aww.
And I know, isn't that so cute? And she's engaged to Douglas Booth.
Who that?
You definitely know who Douglas Booth is.
Yeah, I recognise the name, I just can't picture his face. Oh, him!
Yeah.
The one that everyone thinks is really attractive, and I actually think he's a bit funny looking.
Yeah, the two of them would be like a really glamorous, really attractive couple.
Did they meet? Because they were both in Mary Shelley, weren't they?
Yes, that's where they met, yeah. But they both kind of look like 13-year-old girls still.
Do you know what the first thing I saw him in was?
Was it Worried About the Boy?
No.
Because that's the first thing I saw.
It was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh, really? Yeah. He's got such a Jane Austen face.
Yeah, he does.
And so does she, actually.
Yeah.
They both
She's in Mary Shelley,
look
isn't she?
kind of like woodland creature, like big eyes, perfect features. Like, yeah. It looks like you'd find them like under a toadstool or something, like as a couple.
She looks very small as well. Like,
yeah.
Little.
She's, tiny. I was looking at, she's a little bit Sarah Michelle Gellar, actually.
She is.
I've only just thought about that now. Also, listeners, you, as a pure numbers game, you probably don't know her, but you know my friend Shan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they look quite similar as well?
Yeah, I can see it.
Everyone says that she always looks like Belle Powley. So I Googled the school that she went to because it's got a very, very long Wikipedia page full of famous names.
Okay.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's not what we're here to discuss, and we've already gone on a million tangents, but it doesn't...
And it's not good to advertise that you stalk people's old schools.
No, it's one of those big famous schools. If you actually read up on it, there's a lot of stuff that makes it look really bad. Like historically bad Ofsted things.
This is why it's good to go to a school that doesn't have a really long Wikipedia page, because that means it's not full of bad stuff.
Yeah, like toxic work environment for staff as late as 2019 complaints. Like, it's that kind of thing. But Douglas Booth also is a bit of like a Robert Pattinson type, like posh, privately educated.
They don't look dissimilar.
Yeah, the both of them are a little bit Jack Whitehall, but it's fine because they seem likeable.
When I asked Roger Powell about the freaky weather, he couldn't have been more nervous. He must be hiding something. Here's the plan. Lane, our first objective is to find Powell's office. Daisy, your job will be to keep Powell busy. Do not let him get past you, or I'll be in serious trouble.
Hey, Mr. Powell, didn't your assistant used to be a weather girl?
That should give me and Blaine enough time to retrieve evidence of any secret projects.
Did you have a crush on Blaine?
No. I literally was thinking this as I was watching it. I thought, and I want to say that I wasn't trying to make myself fancy these kids.
Right.
But what I was thinking to myself was, did I fancy one of these when I was that age? And categorically the answer is no, I didn't fancy any of them. And the first episode I watched was the one with the American quote-unquote CIA agent.
Yeah.
Who is... I hadn't remembered the episode, but I thought he was so obviously... Why in kids' shows are the evil characters so obviously evil right from the beginning?
You've got to paint in primary colours.
But I was like, why is this kid bullying Blaine? Like, I really like Blaine. He's clearly got no self-confidence. Why is this kid coming in and bullying him? And I actually even wrote something down from this episode where they're looking for the right briefcase, and Chad, his name is, says, time for some LA magic, and pulls something out of his pocket, which, look, it's like, it's a pencil sharpener, which is like an X-ray device, is looking in the these swapped briefcases. But the line, time for some LA magic, like, I was aware that it was a kid's show, but I fully expected him to pull a blunt out of his pocket. I was like, did they not think about this when they wrote that line?
Well, maybe they did.
Oh, Chad. Hey, dude, what's up?
Yeah, everything's cool, Miss T. Everyone's being great. Especially Daisy. She said she'd come and visit me when I get back to LA. Oh, and Blaine. I had a dog called Blaine. Dumbest mutt ever.
Right.
Well, if I can continue, this week you'll be working alongside an officer from outside MI9. I take it you're all familiar with the American Central Intelligence Agency?
We're going to work with the CIA. They're like the coolest spies ever. Hang on. How old is this officer?
Team, I'd like you to meet CIA Officer Turner.
Hey, dudes, what's up?
Chad!
Officer Turner, over to you.
I bring it up because I did not fancy Blaine, but I know that a lot of people did. Like,
I can see it.
Like, I have a lot of friends that were like, oh, I used to really fancy Blaine. Like, I just remember that, you know what, I watched
Sorry, Mustafa.
Sorry, Mustafa. And he also was not the best actor of the group. He was like, the two girls were like very competent saying the lines. Like, I don't know, Blaine was kind of like, you could tell that he was just a very normal kid that happened to get this part. Like, he was really charming. I enjoy watching him because, like, he's not the best actor in the world, but there's something really grounded about him.
Yeah, like, he's consistent. He's not the best actor, but he is fairly consistent with what he's doing.
Yeah.
I did not find that with Oscar. I actually really dislike his performance.
So should we move on to cast number 2?
Which is Rose. Rose stays the same. And then Daisy disappears and you get Carrie. And Blaine disappears and you get Oscar. And Oscar's a bit different and sort of his character changes the show somewhat because he has like links he's not just a kid who's been selected to do this.
Yes, in series 3, 4 and 5, which is the middle ensemble. Oh, Lenny's been replaced as well.
Yes.
By Frank London.
Yeah.
Frank London is their new handler.
He's a bit of a dilf as well.
He is a bit, yeah. And he's got more of a relationship with the kids as well, because he's
but he's not...
There's more spy content in series.
There is more spy content, but with the replacement of Daisy and Blaine and Lenny, you lose a lot of the humour element from the show. I don't think the series of 3 is as bad, but definitely as you're getting 4 and 5, it's not as funny. It's a lot darker and a lot more like the stakes are raised.
Well, the reason it's darker is because like Oscar's mum is in the enemy organisation Skull.
Yeah.
Which is like super criminal something. Criminal with a K.
Range, incredibly powerful core power unit. Moved to a more comfortable cell. Are you kidding me?
Oscar, look. I've spoken with your mother, and she's promised to behave herself and do her time.
Spoken to my mum?
Yes.
After everything she's put me through.
Oscar, please. What's important right now is that stolen data disk.
Which we'd have if we did things my way.
That fence was electrified.
This is because my mum works for Scar. You've never trusted me.
Agent Cole! Either control yourself or I suggest you remove yourself from duty.
And his dad is like presumed missing in action. Like, so there's more interaction from like the higher ups at actual MI9. So you see like a lot more of their bosses, and they're always like threatening to shut down the MI High division because Oscar's just too volatile. And
yeah, he is. He's a real loose cannon as well.
Yeah.
And he so many things nearly go wrong because of him making snap decisions by himself. And he doesn't have the appearance of someone who should have as much of a temper problem that he does.
There's
like,
something a bit Jamie Campbell-Bower about him.
Yeah, he's quite tall.
Blonde.
He's like the tall, blonde, skinny version of Dark and Mysterious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's quite elusive and quite mysterious.
Lots of white boy angst.
And yeah, he's very angsty, and it's really frustrating because he ruins so much for everybody.
Frank, we've got a problem. Agent Cole, MI9 has a code of conduct. No agent is to put themselves in danger unless someone else's life is at risk.
I know, but they're getting away with the data.
Just like his mother. He's always got to break the rules.
My decision is final, Agent Cole. You are not to jump. Do you hear me? You are not to jump that fence.
Yeah, so MI High is like, there's a mission every episode, and it takes place in and around the school. So like, there's a band that's doing a concert at the school, and their music is hypnotizing people, and the guys have to like find a way to stop it. Or the Prime Minister is visiting the school, but he's actually a robot, and they have to find a way to stop it. Like, lots of things are happening in and around the school. Part of the difficulty of their job is like getting away from their classes or tricking their friends into thinking they're somewhere else or whatever.
MI9 are afraid he may be about to invade Europe, launching us into World War III.
But why would he do that?
That's what we want you to find out. I've pulled a few strings, and the PM will be visiting St. Hope's later today.
And he's coming to present the annual Brave Kids Awards for kids who've done something, especially brave or kind. Now, the ceremony is being held here because one of our pupils has won the top prize.
Then in series 3, 4 and 5, because they're going deeper on the law and like Oscar's parents and the past, and even Frank like has a sort of past romance with one of his bosses, which they explore as well. They spend way less time at the school.
Yeah.
So like the school becomes like this goofy side plot that isn't really like, they just get more and more distant from each other, which is kind of difficult when you get like, there's episodes in series 5 where like they mostly take place not in the school at all. It's like bookended.
Yeah.
And especially when the stakes are getting higher and higher, the production is getting way more like higher budget. You can tell the actors are a little bit more grown up. They've probably had credits in acting before. you've got like moments where you're like, oh my God, are they actually going to die here?
We haven't got a choice.
Self-destruct in 4 minutes.
I'm not leaving you here. We've only just... It's not fair.
Oscar, if you go in there, you'll die.
If I don't, I'll never be able to live with myself.
So then you cut to the villains, and they're still like these goofy, like...
Yeah, you've got the main villain of the kind of running villain in the show, the Grand Master, who is exactly as you would imagine him. You see him mostly through a computer screen. His face is darkened out, but he's wearing like some kind of...
Indian robe.
Or extravagant smoking jacket or something.
Yeah.
And he is holding a white rabbit that he is stroking
thing.
called General Flopsy.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry. If it's revenge you're after, you won't be disappointed. Will she, General Flopsy?
And so, yeah, it really contradicts the tone that the show is taking because they don't do away with the Grand Master.
It's like Hogwarts being called Hogwarts when you're in book 7.
Yeah.
So that is one of the reasons I prefer the earlier ones. And then I didn't watch any, but from what I can tell, in seasons 6 and 7, which still have Frank and a completely different cast of kids, they are more close to the original series, whereas it takes place in and around the school and it doesn't have too much of the kind of MI9 lore and history and all that kind of stuff.
I get the sense that the reason, or one of the reasons that they chose to go in that direction with Oscar was... So you've got the first 3 kids, and you've got Rose, who is the kind of stereotype. She's smart. She's stereotypically smart.
Yes.
And
she's the geek.
I think the thing is, she plays the geek, but they are all playing their own parts.
Yes.
So she plays the geek, where really she's the genius, right?
Yeah.
And Daisy kind of plays the airhead.
The mean girl.
The
head of the mean girls.
Where in actual fact, she's really competent. She's really good at what she does. In fact, I think arguably she is the most well-rounded. She's definitely the best actor of the 3.
But
then you've got...
and Rose have a little bit of they're not really friends in real life.
Well, some people care about more than how they look.
Yeah, you. Obviously.
I'm glad you 3 found each other. At least we know why you're in that group.
But then they have to get along when they're on a mission together.
Okay, let's talk about that separately because I was in the middle of something, but I actually have something to say about.
Sorry, go on.
then you have Blaine, who is kind of a bit sporty. You don't really know. He's a bit of a misfit, to be honest, because his mate Stuart, who I loved Stuart.
Yeah, me too.
He's a bit kind of an outsider, a bit of a.
He's a conspiracy theorist.
I would say that if
he walks around with like a metal hat.
Radio Club, be there, this lunchtime.
So, Stuart, I don't think I'd make it.
You know I told you about the aliens claiming an army? Well, I think I've intercepted some of their signals.
I can't make it.
But this is huge. I thought we were mates.
We are.
So what's gotten into you these days? You've got more secrets than the CIA.
I don't know what you mean.
Look, we've been mates since we were 6. I can tell when you're lying.
If Daisy is like the popular one, I think Rose and Blaine are basically on level pegging in that school in terms of like the social construct of the school.
Yeah.
What I was gonna and the reason that I feel like they gave Oscar that kind of storyline was because you had Rose, who's the genius. You have Carrie, who is like, she's the sporty one and she's really competent and she's really good.
Carrie is in... Oh, you're talking about cast 2.
Cast 2,
okay,
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
With Oscar, you the same thing would have happened. You would have had a character who didn't have anything. If he would have just been the boy one.
You're right. Well, Daisy's...
Both times he would have just been the boy one.
Daisy's thing also was that she was really good at disguises and going undercover.
Yeah.
And also, Oscar is as well. Oscar gets in disguise a lot.
what I was going to say about Daisy and Rose, I have interpreted this entirely differently.
Okay.
I think they are really good friends, and I think it was a good move on the show that like they've kind of shown a very exaggerated version of what school is, but in school you do have cliques.
Yeah.
Not everyone is part of a clique, but like, and they're not to the extent that the show kind of portrays it, but they are real.
Yeah.
And I think it does a really, really good job of showing the kind of friendships across, because they are
Me
all
too.
friends.
Yeah.
And they're not, the thing is, even when they're in school and they're not kind of in the spy lair and they're kind of, they don't pretend not to be friends.
And
or they
that's
don't
the
pretend
same
not...
with all of the cliques.
Yeah.
They all mix. Like, you've got the different stereotypes of the different friendship groups.
Yeah.
But there's no
animosity.
Thank you.
And there's no like,
and they're all talking.
There's no dangerous animosity. There's kind of a bit of like, you know, an off word here or there, like a bit of a joke. But like, even when, you know, Daisy's got these two kind of henchwomen with her, and like sometimes they'll pass Rose, and one of the other girls will say something about Rose, and Daisy will say something just to fit in. She doesn't actually mean it, and I think, and I could tell that as a child.
Yeah,
and I think the show does a really good job of that, because otherwise you're actually kind of, you're playing like dangerous games, because you're going to make kids actually think that that's an okay way to behave.
And also, that's just the way that people operate in real life.
Yeah.
And I really like, I mean, they've got a very limited cast. Like, it's a class of like 6 different kids.
Well,
but...
no, you say you've got a limited cast, but you actually have, there's way more people in it than I remember there being.
So in cast 1 and cast 2, there's the stock character of kind of like they kind of walk between class clown and male bully.
Yeah.
So
he's my favourite as well. I love him.
In series 1, and sorry, in ensemble 1, you've got 50 Pence.
Yes.
Who was a white kid who wears like a tracksuit. Like,
he's like Eminem.
He's like, he kind of, but he speaks in a kind of MLE accent, like a sort of London black
he's like
accent.
East London.
Yeah, and so he's kind of a bully, but he's also kind of like.
There's the episode where the army come and they're doing this kind of assault course.
I remember that, yeah.
And the male class clown / bully,
50 Pence,
Stuart, and Daisy's 2 henchwomen get put in a group together to do this assault course,
and they all get on really well. Oh.
And actually, one of the henchwomen says something nasty to Stuart, and the bully tells them off for doing it, and he actually, like, one of the army like leader, the army lady
that they've brought in to do yeah,
she has an epiphany because of something that the bully says.
I remember she tells her superior to bog off.
Yeah, because she tells them to look out for themselves or something, and he turns around and says, "What about looking out for the people you care about, or your friends,
God, I forgot
or
about
something?"
This.
Don't quote me. That's not a quote, but I did watch it today.
Yeah,
and she, you know, changes her mind on everything that's going on, and essentially the day is saved because he says that line to her.
We'll never get through there. We need to use a plank.
What, you?
Oi! The geek is trying to speak. Listen to him. You need to use one of the planks and put it in vertically. That will stretch the elastic and make a gap big enough to get through.
You! You just gonna lie there and do nothing? The army's about having the guts to stand up for yourself!
What about standing up for others? Good job, you're a skinny little muppet.
Private! Take over! There's somewhere I should be.
And in Ensemble 2, you've got you kind of lose the Mean Girls. The Mean Girls are gone in Ensemble 2, and also Stuart is gone. I know. Because it was always like, I thought implied that Daisy and Blaine were older because they left school first, but they didn't, because they were all in the same class.
I thought it was just implied that Rose stayed on for sixth form and they weren't smart enough to.
Well, no, they were, in official MI High law, they went off to a different division to carry on studying, being spies, and Rose stayed on at the school. So you've got 50 Pence's counterpart in Ensemble 2 is called Scoop Doggy.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
And he's like a white boy with a posse. Yeah. And he has like a Cruella de Vil fluffy white coat and a matching fluffy white bucket hat.
So, you know,
and
basically if the first ensemble cast's bully is Eminem, the second one is Macklemore.
Well, 50 Pence also, even though it was 2009, carried around like a boombox on his shoulder. Yeah. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do, but anyway, you have these like...
You really were catching the end of the generation who were going to get that joke as well.
Yeah, you had...
Like, this is something for the parents.
Scoop Doggy says something in... Basically, there's one bit that I remember very specifically, but I don't remember the context for it. He's trying to get out of doing something in school, and he gives a letter to Mrs. King, who is the one teacher at the school.
Yeah,
in
because the
Ensemble
teachers 2. Change as well, don't they?
In Ensemble 1, you've got Miss Templeman, who fancies Lenny to hilarious effect.
Wait, stop! Open your boot! I'm not joking!
Lane, I'll handle this.
Don't worry, I noticed it too. Smoke coming out of your boot, mate.
Really? Oh, look, let me have a look. Well, it seems okay. But smoke can waft back in, so dodgy carburettor or Scotch gasket, possibly. Mechanics. Little bit of a hobby.
Really?
I really like Miss Templeman.
She's lovely.
Legend.
She is so nice. The way she suffers Mr. Flatley in his hijinks.
The way that she's walking down a corridor with a load of books and files, and Blaine Keynes comes sprinting past her, smashes into her, knocks everything to the ground, gets up and carries on running, and all she does is go, Blaine!
She's so nice. Like, she asks Rose to do something.
That's a detention offence, in my opinion.
Yeah, Rose does something, and she's like, oh, thank you, Rose. I hope you didn't spend all day on it, though. Like, she's just so nice.
Yeah, she is.
The kids are so desperate for new computers. I know we're strapped for cash, but what about the parents' fund?
No. Sadly, due to the activities of a corrupt few, Parents' Committee Fund is actually in the red at the moment.
We owe them 2,000 quid.
Yes. But worry not. Mr. Flatley has a plan.
But Mrs. King in Ensemble 2 is like very sort of straight-laced, like matronly, like she doesn't suffer fools. Mr. Flatley, the head teacher, is scared of her.
Yeah, and she's trying to get rid of him as well.
Yeah. She's trying to get him fired. I do think, so in series 6 and 7, the school isn't St. Hope's anymore. The school is called St. Hart's. Oh. So they've moved to a different school, but Mr. Flatley is still the head teacher there.
Okay.
And the idea is that MI9 have manoeuvred this. So, like, he has a job because of MI9.
Okay.
They need a fool to be in charge. Mr. Flatley, played by Chris Stanton, is the only person that is in every single...
I know, I looked it up on IMDb. I was like, how are you in, 87 episodes of this?
So you'll know also that he died in 2020.
I didn't.
Yeah. He died in March 2020 of one of the non-smoking varieties of lung cancer. I know.
This is taken.
I found this out today. I'm sorry that I have to tell you. I thought you knew that from your research today. I'm sorry.
No, I looked on IMDb. Yeah. That's as far as I got.
I'm really sorry.
You will be.
I was very sorry to find that out as well.
R.I.P. Chris.
Yeah. He was very good in it. He was very funny.
Chris Stanton would have loved this.
Chris Stanton would have loved this.
Mr.
Natalie, I asked to see the school records 2 months ago. Why have you filled my desk with waste paper?
Oh, this isn't waste paper. It's our filing system. I invented it, actually. It's rather brilliant, even if I do say so myself.
But this is chaos.
No. It's all perfectly logical. Each child has a nickname to help me remember who they are, and each file is arranged alphabetically according to those nicknames. For example, Robbie Small is filed under C for cake.
Why cake?
That's easy. Small plays for the football team. Footballers get yellow cards. Yellow cards aren't as nice as birthday cards, and if it's your birthday, you'll want some cake.
The whole school's administrative system is based on this.
But yes, so Scoop Doggy, as I was saying, is trying to get out of something. He gives a letter to Mrs. King. The idea is that it's a letter from his mum that he's written himself.
Yeah.
And she reads out... Scoop Doggy cannot attend. He is well sick, not sick as in good, sick as in yakking it up big time.
I don't care if it's the last day on Earth. No one is going home early. I've got a bad stomach.
Bad throat.
Bad hair.
Miss, wait. I got a note from my mum.
Timothy is well sick, innit? And not sick as in good, but sick as in yakking it up big time.
And since 2011, me and my brother and sister have referred to being sick as yakking it up big time. I've never said this in front of you, but it's been part of my vocabulary for a very long time.
She just rips it in half, because you made me watch this one as well today.
Yeah.
And she just rips it in half, sighs, and walks off. And you see the look in Scoop Doggy's eyes, because he thought he'd done a good job on it as well.
Aww.
So I felt really bad for him, but it took me back to my school days, and I thought of all the times I falsified documentation from my I thought of all the times I falsified documentation from my mum. I was going to say mum and dad, but my dad's signature is too hard to fake.
Right.
But my mum's is a lot more like my own, so
Sure.
I faked my mum's signature a lot to get out of PE. And I woun't, I don't think I ever did anything as bad as writing a full note. I thought, how many times do you think the teachers actually knew? Or did I do a good job of the falsification, and they didn't know, or did they were just not asked enough to
You'll
pull me
never know.
because
You
they
can email them.
They were never going to go, oh, you faked this, and if I go, yeah, but every single one of these has been faked, so you don't know what my mum's signature actually looks like. Did you have one of those journals in school?
Yeah, planners that you had to get signed.
You had to get signed every week. It's
Yeah,
what a ball ache.
And the teachers hated it too. They hated checking it. What a waste of time. So moving on from the school cast of characters.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about the Grand Master, but we've not really got onto villains yet. I've just remembered that I want to talk more about Lenny. His hair.
He's got the hair of a cartoon character.
It's majestic.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, in the IT Crowd where Moss has an afro with a side parting.
Yeah, it's
his is that, but more extreme, and it looks amazing.
It's not exactly inconspicuous, though, is it? Which is what you would want, really, from a spy.
Well, he flattens it all down with a beanie when he's playing.
I never really got the idea that the secret lair in the school is accessible by the
elevator shaft. Oh no, the caretaker's cupboard.
The caretaker's cupboard, which turns into an elevator shaft if you pull a mop in a bucket, and a green light on a paint can flashes.
Yes,
a
downward arrow. Yeah,
and they on the journey down to the lair, which seems quite fucking far underground. Probably so none of the lair electronics interfere with the school's electronics. But on the way down, they're transformed in the elevator, and they're no longer wearing
Batman and Robin style.
Yeah, they're no longer wearing their school uniforms. They're wearing these pleather outfits, and they've got makeup on. And you know,
ensemble one
in the lair, Rose doesn't need glasses anymore.
Yeah, and their hair's different. In fact, Blaine's hair is like. Do you notice how it's like?
Yeah.
dead straight at the front and really weird and messy at the back. It was a weird haircut.
Yeah,
that
because
Blaine
they put some hair gel in it. That's
Yeah,
what
it
they
was
did.
just weird.
Yeah, because when Oscar's got quite curly, like blonde hair, but when he's in the lair, it's straight and combed behind his ears. But I never saw the point in that. I was like, what's the point in getting all ready and nice and no one else seeing you?
And Ensemble 1 compared to Ensemble 2, their spy outfits, it's like the difference between Adam West Batman and Christian Bale Batman. Like, the first ones, it's like black pleather but with like silver panels. And in Series 2, they just look quite normal.
Yeah. They're like, Rose's pencil dresses are actually not that practical for running.
Yeah. They were all field agents, but they were also like all very clever.
Yeah.
So remember we were talking about Oscar and his volatility and like the darker middle seasons where he was sort of... Do you remember the episode the very last episode of that cast in particular?
Yes.
He wants to find his dad or find out more information about his dad or whatever.
Can I point out that neither of his parents look anything like him?
Yeah.
So if that is definitely his mum, then that definitely isn't his dad.
Yeah, so he like infiltrates Skull and he's going rogue and everyone's really annoyed about it. And you've got Carrie and Rose, these two extremely responsible, very competent women of colour just chasing after this angsty white boy so they can keep their jobs. And then they go into his childhood bedroom where his foster family, they track them down and they go to his childhood bedroom and it's like a mix between Patrick Bateman and like, you know, the Charlie Day Always Sunny meme where he's got like the red string and the conspiracy. Yeah. But yeah, those episodes were good. Like I was sort of thinking, oh God, I hope they don't die. I hope this all turns out well. Like I was kind of invested, but they just don't have
the same kind of
whimsy.
Je ne sais quoi that the first two series have. Yeah.
It's just cut its budget, cut the amount of locations available to them, and it'll be better.
It also seems like the difference between Frank and Lenny really, like Lenny, he is, it's like he is aware that there is a certain level of ridiculous to the job that he has, camp, and he's a bit kind of eye-rolly after these kids, but he likes his job and that's fine. Whereas Frank is like, so he's got Frank arguably is more camp than Lenny because he wears all those like shirts and
he takes it quite seriously.
But Frank takes it so seriously. Yeah. He's such a square.
The 21st century faces a new kind of threat. Old school spies have had their day, and MI9 must create a new breed of skilled undercover agent.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Lenny would let you bunk the day off because he's like, at the end of the day, you're a kid.
Actually,
whereas Frank is like, the world rests on you.
The episode with Tony Gardner playing the Prime Minister, basically, I watched a little bit of this episode and I didn't finish it because I wanted to go back and watch the earlier ones. But basically, Skull has announced that they're no longer a criminal organisation and they're going to make amends, they're going to pay like reparations, whatever, and the Grand Master is now campaigning to be Prime Minister.
Yeah.
But what's about the Grand Master?
He's here signing a peace treaty. What?
The Prime Minister is correct. Skull is no longer a criminal organization. I'm going straight.
And for abandoning crime, the Grand Master is receiving a full pardon.
You can't just let him off. What about everything he's done?
Skull will make amends for every crime carried out in our name.
And Rose and Oscar and Carrie are like, no. And MI9 is like, no. And Frank is like, well, I'm sorry, but that's what a democracy is. And I'm not going to have any part in this. And it's not okay that, like, he does this whole big speech. I'll probably play it.
Ah, hello, Rose.
I don't understand why you're doing this. Don't you want to stop him becoming Prime Minister?
I've lost members of my family in the fight against Skull. Do you think I like doing nothing while they try and take over the country?
Then why?
Because in a free country, the Secret Service doesn't run the government. If we influence this election, then what's to stop us influencing the next and then the next? We may as well get rid of elections altogether and run the country ourselves.
But this is the Grand Master we're talking about. He stole 2,000-year-old biological weapons. He tried to create a new ice age. He even tried to blow up the moon. He's a criminal.
No, he was pardoned. If he breaks the law again, I'll be the first to act. But until he does, he's got the same rights as everyone else.
Please don't resign over this.
I'm not resigning. I'm merely taking a few days' leave from MI9. And as a private citizen, going to help the Prime Minister's campaign. No dirty tricks, no smear campaigns, just honestly talking to people about the issues.
Good luck.
You'll excuse me if I don't wish you the same.
He's... Brexit is Brexit.
Right! Like... And in that episode is so funny
Things
because
can't change.
So much of, like, you get outside broadcasts in shows, like spy shows, where you've got, like, a news broadcast and they've got someone like Clive Myrie or something, like, pretending that, like, aliens have invaded. You get the same thing in MI High.
Clive Myrie would do that.
I don't know. He probably has, like Doctor Who or something. I don't know. But
Susanna Reid's definitely... And
Susanna Reid,
yes. Definitely done
yes,
fake
for
news,
sure. Yeah, Clive Myrie's just, he's too much of a professional, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean...
Jon Snow would do it.
They sent him to Ukraine, so...
Yeah. But yeah, in MI High, they use Newsround.
Yes, they do.
Which at the time, I really like it put me in the world.
I loved Newsround.
Yeah, at the time I was like, it really put me in the world of MI High. And then as an adult, I watch it and I'm like, that is so silly. I'm sorry. MI9 is not getting their news from Newsround.
They're not putting out a call-in that there's a disease going round only white rabbits and getting every white rabbit into vets throughout the country through Newsround.
Yeah, so there's an episode where, like, because the Grand Master loves his rabbits so much, they try and catch him by reporting a fake illness for just white rabbits.
Okay, so just to reiterate that message, if it twitches, bring it in.
Nice work, Carrie. All rabbits have twitching noses, so identifying that as the main symptom means we get to see every white rabbit in the country.
Including, hopefully, General Flopsy.
Each prep vet will take a DNA sample, which we'll check against our own DNA files.
I took a copy of Flopsy's DNA when we had him confined during the US president mission.
Once we get a match between the two samples, we'll know that rabbit must be Flopsy.
And I mean, it
He
works.
falls for it, yeah. But yeah, in
sinker.
In this episode that's called Crime Minister,
Yeah!
not only have they got Newsround, like, covering the election and stuff, but they also have, and this is wrong, we are recording this sort of a week, not even a week after the Gary Lineker debacle. You've got Basil Brush endorsing the Grand Master, and you've got...
That breaches BBC's impartiality rules.
Doesn't it?
Hello, Mr. Voter. I'm voting for Skull because I'm worried about crime. The Grand Master used to be a criminal, so he knows exactly how to deal with them. In fact, you could call him the Crime Minister. Boom, boom!
Vote Skull!
And, like, he's saying, like, as a former crime lord, he would know how to crack down on crime, ha ha ha, bum bum. And...
Forgot he did that.
And you've got, well, that's famously, that's what he does. And you've got, like, one of the current, or then current, Blue Peter presenters saying that the Grand Master has his vote. And it's like, for kids, I understand, like, this all works because they know these programs.
Yeah.
And it's sort of putting it into the real world by having them there. But it's so fucking silly.
I would never vote for a party called the Secret Criminal Underground League. But now that they've changed the K, so it stands for kind, well, I think I'm going to be voting for them twice.
It's so silly.
Yeah, but if you were one of those presenters, you'd love to be asked to do something
you
like
would.
that.
Yeah. The Grand Master, should we talk about the Grand Master?
Yeah,
He
okay.
is so...
Camp.
He's so camp. His voice, everything.
You know that he's only a criminal and obsessed with that rabbit because his life partner died in something tragic, and that rabbit's all he's got left of him.
Yeah. Of him.
come on. Come on now.
Yes. Let's be sensible.
Let's be sensible here, else.
I love the
most
Grandmaster.
gay-coded man on children's TV.
There's an episode and it starts, like, the first minute is just the Grandmaster watching Blue Peter.
Yeah.
Like, he's in his lair, stroking his rabbit, watching CBBC.
Nonce!
Ah, goody. Blue Peter.
Hello and welcome to this live Blue Peter special on global warming.
Hello,
now, those of you who've been
Connie.
watching the news will know that the usually freezing Arctic is sweltering. Now, this topsy-turvy global warming has reached Great Britain. Even Shelley has gone into hibernation a little bit early. Or perhaps just somewhere a little bit warmer.
Stupid tortoise.
The Weather Bureau says it looks set to get even colder.
Yes, much, much colder.
And he's like, oh, it's Blue Peter. Hello, Connie. Because Connie Hook is presenting it. It's like, what are you trying to do? I don't understand why they're trying to, like, Series 1 and 2, fine. Series 3, 4 and 5, they're trying to make it sort of darker and grittier and angstier.
But they don't change the Grandmaster
But they don't.
at all.
They could have done. They easily could have got a scarier villain in. They've got someone called the Grand Mistress in those seasons as well.
Yeah, isn't she played by...
Tracy Ann Oberman.
Tracy Ann Oberman, yeah.
So who are the other cameos?
We wrote that. I was sending you messages about them earlier, wasn't I?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
There is...
Kevin Eldon.
Kevin Eldon is the, Brian Cox.
Brian Cox's voice,
Brian Cox's voice, yeah, but for 5 episodes.
Yeah, I know.
Simon Farnaby's in it.
Oh, of course Simon Farnaby is in
Warwick Davis is in it. Felicity Montague is in it. Like, Rula Lenska, like you said. Adoja Rando as well.
Yeah.
She's like the head of MI9 or something. And I remember putting that episode on. Is it the last episode of Series 5?
Yeah, it's the last of
I forgot that you were in it. How the hell did they get you?
And many more people were like, you won't know their name, but you'll know their face because they're all over TV. In fact, Blaine also has his own episode of being a bit angsty. So he's distracted between the mission and his own personal life because his brother is going to get shipped off to whatever, like, army division somewhere, and he wants to go to the train station to see him off. And he's not...
I remember this.
Yeah. And Daisy and Rose are sort of, like, going between him and Lenny and trying to work out, what's wrong with Blaine? And actually, Lenny...
He loves his brother. Sorry.
Yeah, Lenny gives him a gadget, and he says, I've even made it in the colours of your favourite team. I know. And then he says the team, and Blaine's like, what? You really know nothing about me. And he storms off. And there's a shot where he's just folding his arms, looking into the lair as the elevator doors just close in front of him. And
that's the thing, is that there is a lot of, several times, a lot of it is with Oscar where they storm off, but what they have to do is storm off into an elevator and wait for the doors to close. And there's one where Oscar storms off and it feels like he realises he can't face them, so he faces the wall side on and he looks... And he looks back, like, really angstily, like...
Almost like an underwear model. Like, he's very posturing.
Like he's mad he can't slam the door.
Yeah. But the difference
he looks
between...
like a Hollister model, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. The difference between Blaine and Oscar and their own personal brand of white boy angst is that Blaine just carries it off so much better.
The Sparta launch has to take place at 4 o'clock. You have 4 hours. Synchronize your watches.
4 o'clock. Bit of a problem.
We've got something more important to do?
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
More important than preventing a war?
You've got Daisy and Rose to help you.
Listen, Blaine. You've got a key role to play. Here. It's a computer tracking device to help locate the worm. I had it specially done in the colours of your favourite team. Lake Norrin, isn't it?
You really don't know anything about me?
He'll come around.
He'd better.
Hey, you really lost your cool in there today. Must have been something pretty important. I thought this would be like your dream job. Rockets, computer hacking, cartoon worms. So, how can we try to get out of it?
You wouldn't understand. It's not kid stuff.
Neither's this. We have to make sure Sparta gets launched or the country could be at war. And I don't think we can do it without you.
But yeah, one's like all actory and one's like just a child that's been given a script and is having a go at doing a little play. And I think that's why Oscar's so good. Not Oscar, sorry, Blaine. He's a kid that's got the chance to be in a TV show and he's just having a good time being a spy.
It's not hard to pretend to be a normal kid when you're a normal kid, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But Oscar, like, the actors are clearly older in the darker seasons, I'm going to call them.
The darker seasons.
What else have I got to say about this? Oh, yeah. So you know how CBBC, the website, had games?
Yeah.
There was an MI High game where the villains were different. It wasn't Skull, it was Scum. So Scum stands for...
What are you saying again? Say it again.
Superior Crew for Ultimate Maximization, run by the Grand Mistress.
Yeah.
And it's like the same Skull logo.
But it's got eyelashes.
No, it's got a ponytail.
Oh.
What does Skull stand for? Hang on. Skull stands for Secret Criminal Underworld League. They could have spelt that with a C. But they decide not to.
It's camp.
In both Skull and Scum, yeah. Another note I wrote is that Kevin Eldon was born to look sweaty.
Oh.
But do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kev.
Listen, no one's a bigger fan than me of Kevin Eldon. I love that man.
What a statement.
I stand by it. He's only in good things, and he also happens to be in everything for like 2 seconds each. He's just everywhere.
In my head, Kevin Eldon, he looks like the English version of... Do you know who Joe Latruglio is?
I do.
Yeah, do you not think that Joe Latruglio looks like the American version of Kevin Eldon?
Also, do you know who Henry Lloyd Hughes is?
Might do.
There's a Guardian article about him that calls him the most famous non-famous actor because he's in so many things. Yeah, there you go. He was Blaine's brother.
Yeah.
Who appears for 5 seconds at the end of that episode.
That's another thing that it's like if Henry Lloyd... that one of them is not a brother there because...
Yeah, no, exactly.
Then they look nothing alike. Yeah, because he's in Betweeners, isn't he? Famously.
Yes,
That's what we all know him from.
And... I mean, I don't think we have time to go into it now, but it's sort of when the show's at its best, it's like a villain of the week structure.
Yeah.
Every villain was so good.
Yeah.
It was so camp.
It was. Because
a few years ago, I went back to watch a bit of the first season, and I remember thinking, oh, this isn't as good as I remember. This is a bit like... I used to think it had like really good production, and like as a kid I was really impressed with it, and now I'm not. And now I watch it and I'm more impressed than I ever have been.
I was loving the props that they get made, like in
the gadgets.
The gadget. No, the props, because they look like props. As a kid, they looked cool, and now like there's this one. There's the episode again. The episode with the American CIA bully who
was a bit better than Blaine, and Blaine was jealous of it.
Yeah, and Daisy fancied him.
Yeah,
and he brought these like he was working for Skull. It was very obvious to me, but he brought these like little. They were like round discs that you put on your body, and they make you superhuman or whatever.
Like the star in Mario Kart.
I guess, but
that's the closest thing I can come up with.
They're not working properly, and his ulterior motive is he wants Rose to sort them out. and Blaine puts one on, even though he's been told not to. But they aren't like little round patches that you put on. They're like round, and they've got like a fucking diameter of about 20 centimetres, and they're about 5 centimetres thick. They're massive. There's no way that you'd be concealing that, because they look like hockey pucks. There's no way you'd be concealing that under your clothing. And they've got these like yellow like kind of lights that light up around the centre, and that's sort of it. And they literally look like someone has put LEDs on a hockey puck and stuck it to a teenage boy's chest. Like, and it's like, as a kid, I will have thought that was really impressive. And as an adult, I would have thought, God, were the BBC making cuts already?
Now, this notepad conceals a DNA analyzer. And this, a lipstick laser. It can cut a hole in metal at 10 meters.
Lipstick? I don't think so.
Come on, Blaine. Pucker up.
Kung Fu Master, I have no need of flashy gadget.
Daisy, you might want to keep the lid on that.
Speaking of bad technology, there is an episode where they're in the school computer suite.
Yes.
And like a B plot of this episode is that the school doesn't have enough computers and they're trying to raise money. And all these computers have big signs on them in bold letters saying, like black and white, saying broken or out of order. And then all the kids are huddled around this one computer and there's a sign on the top of it that says, the computer. I might post that on the Instagram, actually.
The computer.
I think you did watch this episode because we discussed it. I don't know if you missed that bit, but yeah.
No, I thought, because is it the episode with Stuart and his bag of potatoes? Is it the
I
same?
don't know.
I don't remember because I watched a lot today.
Yeah,
it's where they all have to do an invention to save the planet, and Stuart has invented this phone that's powered off of the power that you get out of potatoes.
I remember that.
And he sends Blaine off with it, and he says, "Take this. It's got a battery life of 8 seconds." It actually says it's only got about 8 seconds of chat in it, so you'll need these, and like thrusts a sack of potatoes in Blaine's hands.
That's actually
Each
so
later,
funny.
they've got about 8 seconds of chat in it.
So it got cancelled.
Yeah.
To bring us to the end of this episode, the locations that they use stop existing, and that is why it stopped.
Really?
Yep. So the school had already closed before they started using it, and that's why it looks so much like a real London State School.
I actually love the school.
It looks great, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I was thinking this as I was watching. I was like, I would have loved to have gone to a school that looked like. I mean, at the time it would have been a school, but my school looked like a shithole. So
this school kind of looks like a shithole as well.
No, because when you went to a northern shithole school, kind of the London nice brick just kind of sways you a little bit.
Oh, I suppose.
Even if the content's a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, I actually do want to say that I respect my school a lot. I feel like I had quite a good time, but it does look like a shithole. But this school, I don't think it does look like a shithole. I think it looks like if you were to draw a picture of a school, you'd draw that school. It looks like a school.
It looks very, very realistic and normal because it is a school. That's why. But yeah, the locations just stopped being available. So it's sort of just anticlimactic, but yeah.
Well, it needed to stop at some point, really, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, we stopped watching it, so that's probably why they stopped as well.
Well, yeah, because it stopped in 2015. In 2015, I was 16. And I never watched that much kids' TV anyway, but definitely by the time I was 16, I wasn't watching any. So
yeah. Closing statements, do you have any?
I ain't got really anything bad to say about it. Have we got any negative reviews to read? Or
no, I don't think so. I had a bit of a look, but hang on. Let me see.
We've actually been talking about quite good shows.
Yeah, we have, yeah. I think I've said everything I can think to say. I mean, I kind of wanted to talk a bit more about the Grandmaster, but I think the best way to convey the idea of the Grandmaster is just to play sound clips.
Yeah,
There's not very much I can say in words.
Comical American accent as well.
It's not American.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not American.
Have you not watched the episode with the rabbits? He's putting on like a faux American accent.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it
or
was...
at least in that episode he is.
Oh, okay. I mean, he was played by two different men.
Maybe
I don't know who was in front of the camera, but the voices too, you never see his face, so it doesn't really matter.
Just one last question. If you are completely legal now, why do you still cover your face with a scarf?
I'm shy.
But yeah, I'm just going to have to play clips to convey the mood, because there's not really so much we can do in words to get across who
in
the
my
Grandmaster
head he
is.
looks like Anton Ego from Ratatouille.
Yeah, he does a bit.
Yeah.
In my head, when he makes rare appearances in the daylight, so usually you see him through a screen and like lots of shadow, when he's in the daylight he's just got a mask on, he's got like a hat, like a wide brimmed hat and sunglasses. I think he looks a little bit like
he looks like a rich widow.
He looks like a rich widow. I was going to say, that picture I have on my phone background of Leonard Cohen?
Yeah.
A little bit like that. A little bit, well, he's wearing a hat that makes him look Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Am I High? Good show.
Really enjoy it.
Had a good time this episode?
Sorry, I know I'm yawning.
No, it's fine. I know you had a good
That's
time.
because your room is so small that it doesn't have enough oxygen for two people.
That's why we yawn.
So that'd be periodically like sticking my nose under the crack in your door and like taking in some oxygen and holding it in my body like a fish.
I can't wait to edit this episode, to be honest. Do you remember the episode with the evil fish?
Yes. I actually, I've really enjoyed doing this episode, but like I don't know if it'll be one of. I feel like so far either Come Outside or Raven have been the best ones to do.
Or Bamzuki.
Bamzuki, did forget briefly about that one. I feel like we've had too many genuine facts to say to have been that funny.
I mean, if you loved Am I High as much as we did, you'll find something to enjoy in this episode, I guess.
Can't believe that there is, in 2009, I guess, there was a 15, 16, 17-year-old boy called Blaine.
Yeah, what's that?
Why is his name Blaine?
Oh my God, a kid came into the shop the other day, like maybe 3 years old. He was called Ray.
As in Raymond, or...
As in...
Leotta.
As in Winston.
It's not. I can't imagine going through 9 to 10 months of pregnancy, 48 hours of labour, ripping from my arsehole to my vagina, and then looking at my newborn baby and naming it Ray.
I thought it was so funny. It's like, that is the name of a 60-year-old Cockney man.
Do you know what name my boyfriend has gotten fixated on recently?
Oh no, what is it?
Roger.
Oh no, I quite like that, actually.
What, for a baby?
Yeah. I think that's quite cute.
I didn't expect you to back him.
Can you
on
back
air?
away from the mic, please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
I had to sit up a bit because sitting in here is such a fucking challenge.
All right, are we done then?
Yeah, but Roger's a bad name for a baby.
Maybe for a baby. I don't know. I think it's quite sweet.
Little baby Roger.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It rhymes with Todger.
It does, yeah. Maybe suggest Blaine.
No, I don't like
Nah.
it. It's a horrible name.
Lenny?
Oh.
Yeah.
No, because
my cat was
of
called
Mice
Lenny.
and Men.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because also it's Leonard. I
quite
don't like Leonard.
I quite like it. Although my...
Well, you have it then.
No, I'm not... No. Because my first point of reference is...
Cohen?
Not Cohen. Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay. It says a lot about you that... No, I know Elsie's a really big Leonard Cohen fan, and yet her first point of reference for the name Leonard is Leonard from the Big Bang Theory.
Well, when you're watching the Big Bang Theory, you hear the name Leonard a lot.
Yes.
When you're listening to the music of Leonard Cohen, you basically never hear the word Leonard.
You made your case very well.
Thank you. So we've bookended this episode with 2 tangents, one about children's books and the other about the name Leonard.
Yes.
I think it's time to finish.
Grandma poos a bank.
Right, let's just go watch some more MI High. I know that's what I'm going to do. Well, if you've made it to the end of our MI High episode,
This is
well
going to be
done.
a longie as well.
Why? Oh, no, it is. This is going to be a long one, yeah. Well, it was an hour and a half for Brats. I think we've not even got an hour and a half of material full stop here, so...
Oh, it feels like that.
Oh, sorry, Meg. I forgot to say, welcome back.
Oh, cheers,
It's
yeah.
nice to be here again with you.
Yeah, since the last episode, I've had a birthday.
Yeah.
And 1 year closer to not being alive anymore.
You're going to get that.
No, do you know why I'm actually 1 year closer to?
Getting a cervical smear.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say.
And it'll come through the door any day now.
Because our other housemate turns 25 in about 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So she's already had 2 letters about it. You're going to have one in September and I get to wait.
It's coming for us all.
It's coming for us all.
Twitter.
That's what we were doing.
Yes, we were. You can find us at thoughts__TV. Do you want to do the Instagram?
It's Thoughts TV, but the O is a 0.
Very good. You can subscribe if you use an app that allows you to subscribe, and if you are using a listening platform that lets you rate 5 stars, then maybe you should do that just to make the most of those facilities, you know?
You can send it to your mates or your family if you have a good relationship with them. Actually, I'd like to say that the other day my mum sent me a message that said, I know what thoughts means now.
So I've got a radio show.
I can't believe that she's listened to every episode and has only just thought to look it up.
I've got a radio show and there's a guy that comes in and does the news on the hour. So I see him once a week for about 10 minutes.
Right.
And he always says, How's your Tots TV going?
Oh.
I don't want to tell him.
It's thoughts, mate.
He's so nice.
Well, this was a nice episode, Els.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, share this far and wide. Spread it like butter on toast.
Please.
And thank you for all the listening you have already done. It means a lot to us.
Even if you put it on 1.5 times.
I respect that,
Which
honestly.
I know my boyfriend has done.
Bye.
Bye.